did this. The victims that spoke out and are paying the price for it right now did this. Virginia Giuffre, who paid the ultimate price, maybe more than anyone else, did this. Those people are heroes, and they changed the course of history forever. They forced the vice president of the United States to admit to this stuff on the largest podcast in the world. Well, maybe the second largest podcast. No shade, Joe. But we're not done. Congressman Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, they did this by writing and pushing and passing the Epstein Files Transparency Act a year ago, just last week. And because of that, Miriam Adelson spent $30 million to take Massie's job. But they're not done. We are not done. Massie and Khanna just introduced a second Epstein Files Transparency Act that will push the needle a little further and force more disclosure, and most importantly, open the way to actual investigation and prosecution at the state and federal levels. Trump wants us to stop talking about it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Israel wants us to stop talking about it. The entire Epstein class wants us to stop talking about it. But this story is far from finished. We are never going back to the world that we used to live in. Because remember, it used to be the most absurd conspiracy theory that pedophiles ran world governments and secretly controlled the levers of power. That was just completely nutty back in the early 2000s. But it turns out that it was all true. Truer than we even know to this day. We have barely scratched the surface of this case, and we already know about lords and princes and presidents and prime ministers and bankers and billionaires all implicated in this pedophile network. Just imagine what's on the hard drives that they wiped. Imagine what's in the files back at Mossad HQ. And all of that's not to mention Pizzagate. All of that's not to mention Diddy and Mike Jeffries. All of this is just from one small crack in the walls of the blackmail that surrounds this Truman Show that they tell you about on TV. You live in a compromised world. And if you're not a conspiracy theorist in 2026, you're falling way behind. Now is time for everybody to wake up. Now is time for the left and the right to realize that red versus blue is a lie.
There are 100 U.S. senators. Last year, 93 out of 100 U.S. senators were people whose campaigns had been funded by Israel, AIPAC, and the Israel lobby. 93 out of 100 U.S. senators were taking money from a group that represents a foreign government and foreign interests in order to operate our government on behalf of someone else.
It's just a sports game that they give you to keep you fighting a constructed culture war that they feed you. It's just an endless stream of distractions to keep the people from rising up and coming for the Epstein class.